Lila.
Hi, I'm Bea.
And welcome to the Muddle.
It is another Saturday evening.
Here with some red wine tonight.
In the panic room.
Yeah.
I like to call it the safe room. Lila likes to call it the panic room.
It is. I like the panic room.
But when I think of the panic room, I think of the band Panic at the Disco.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the movie Panic Room with
there is that.
Jodie Foster. Or Jodie Fisher.
I just think Panic at the Disco is a terrible band name, personally.
Well, there is Panic at the Disco. Have you had a good experience at the disco?
I always have a good experience at the disco, Lila.
Yeah. Well, last week was our live episode.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Let's talk about our live episode.
Okay, so we had 8 people listen. I mean, we're a brand new podcast. Yeah. On a Saturday night, maybe Saturday night.
I think I would have felt really bad if nobody listened.
I think I would have maybe felt a little,
yeah. But then they probably wouldn't have heard the 5 minutes of my panicking when I was left alone in the panic room.
And explain why that happened.
Oh, Bee's 3-year-old came charging in with the dog. And my dream about the dog interrupting the live podcast did come true. So I was probably about 20 seconds of silence for me deciding what I should say. But overall, I mean, it was a good episode. I thought, the Sauvignon Blanc and the Bad Durkheim Festival were pretty good.
Yeah.
And the wine facts.
So if you want to hear that, listen to our first episode of Wine November.
And it sure did get off to a banging start.
It did.
So this week is all about red. Well, not all about red. Our favorite reds.
Mostly about red.
Yeah.
Yeah. The theme is red.
Yeah, we're not discussing every red wine variety out there. So I'm going to talk about the Pinot Noir and, well, actually all Pinots. Not, because Pinot Noir, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Grigio are pretty much from the same grape.
Right.
Pinot Blanc and Pinot Grigio are mutations of Pinot Noir.
I love Pinot Noir.
Yeah. The grape for Pinot Noir is shaped like a cone, so it's harder to produce Pinot Noir.
Oh, I did not know that. Have you seen, this is a random aside, have you seen the Moondrop grapes? Mm-hmm. Have you seen these? They're oblong. They're about 1.5 inches long, and they're a dark purple grape. And they're delicious.
Oh.
But my dad loves to get them.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful, but then he'll give us part of the package because he can't eat them all. Moms have to cut up grapes for their kids because grapes, there are 2 things that moms are afraid of, and it's grapes and knives. And grapes are the same exact size as your trachea tube.
Okay. I gotcha.
If they choke on a grape, then it's game over.
Yes.
It's really hard to get it out.
I once choked on a piece of chicken.
I choked on a quarter.
See, so.
I think yours is more legitimate. I'm the idiot who ate a quarter. She was 3. Anyway, Moondrop grapes. I wonder if those are used for any wine. I'm curious now.
Well, now you'll have to research that and let us know next week.
I will. Well, next week we're taking a break.
Yeah, we're taking a break, and then we'll come back with another live episode, which will go much better than the first one. I actually don't think it was that bad. I am sad that we lost Fabio during our podcast.
I liked having Fabio. Was a good time.
Yeah, Fabio was our one listener from Brazil at a certain time.
But he was drinking grapes.
He was drinking he wasn't drinking grapes. God. He was drinking beer.
He was drinking beer.
So
in Brazil.
I guess he just didn't like. He should have. I hope he listens to our Oktoberfest. I hope he continues to be a loyal follower of the Muddle.
If you're out there again, Fabio, we heart you.
We do.
And we hope you come back.
Yeah, write us.
Mm-hmm, please.
Yes. So, okay.
We're just going to fangirl on Fabio.
Yeah, Fabio. It is believed that Pinot Noir originated in Burgundy, France. It's the 10th most planted grape in the world. It is the oldest grape. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but I'm going to give it a try. It's the Vitis vinifera. Monks and Romans were the first Pinot lovers. Romans, man.
They're on everything.
Yeah. Monks also make really good beer.
They do.
Pinot Noir has been dated back to France since the Roman era. Back in the Roman days, Rome kind of spread far and wide.
Mm-hmm.
So back in Roman days, they used the Muscat. It's like Moscato.
Oh, right.
Muscat Blanc, which is the Moscato grape. It's 1,000 years older than Cabernet Sauvignon.
No,
that's old.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you taste Pinot Noir? Give B here a test.
This is going to make me sound like an absolute idiot. However, I'm going to say it anyway. I always think of film noir. The filtered light through blinds, dark and seedy 1920s.
Which, by the way, I'm going to produce for the Pinot Noir for our Instagram page. The seedy Pinot Noir.
I love it. Are you really?
Yeah, I'll do that.
That's amazing. That's what I think of. I mean, is that...
Well, do you taste, does it differ? For me, Pinot Noir is more of I tend, with my alcohol, I like the smoky aspects of things.
Oh.
Like with whiskey, I like a more smoky flavor. That's probably why I like Manhattans.
Sure.
Pinot Noir has that kind of smoky, rich flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's very smooth.
And it's not, like, I don't like a wine that tastes like dark cherry and I don't feel like Pinot Noir does that. No.
Pinot Noir is noted for its natural ability to be lighter than other red wines.
Mm-hmm.
And they're low in tannins.
Mm-hmm.
And tannins are, they come from the stems, skins, and seeds and can cause bitterness during the process.
What a lot of people have the kind of like an allergic
yes, they can
reaction.
kind of become red to it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it makes you stuffy. Like, I have sinus issues. I don't have a Pinot Noir, but if I drink a dark red wine, sometimes my sinuses will flare up.
Yeah. Well, they say that the tannins are what... I think I'm on edge. So what just happened was positioned a nice quilt to hang in the panic room to help with the sound, and it just came crashing down, and my heart is racing. It scared the crap out of me.
It has been an incredibly long day and week.
Okay. Okay, let me get back on track here with the tannins. Apparently, whoever inhabits the panic room does not like me discussing tannins. Pinot Noir, they're grown in cool climates. Burgundy and Champagne are the coldest wine regions. Champagne is a region in France. So, interesting, a DNA test was determined that Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Blanc and Pinot Grigio are mutations of the same grape. So if you like Pinot Noir, then you should be drinking all Pinots, they say. Chardonnay is actually related to Pinot Noir. Both of these grapes are usually planted nearby, so that's why they're kind of similar. Pinot Noir should be served in a large bell-shaped glass to collect the delicate aromas. A DNA test determined that Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Blanc, Pinot Grigio are the mutations of the same grape. So if you like Pinot Noir, then you should be drinking all varieties of Pinot.
I do enjoy all varieties of Pinot.
Yeah. I like Pinot Blanc the best. Chardonnay is actually related to the Pinot Noir because both of the grapes are usually planted nearby. Pinot Noir should be served in a large bell-shaped glass to collect the delicate aromas. And the primary flavors you get from Chardonnay, Pinot Noir is cherry, raspberry, clove, mushroom, and hibiscus.
Clove, mushroom?
Yeah.
Those are so different from cherry and hibiscus.
I think that's why it gives it the smokiest flavor. I do think it's a little smoky.
Mushroom.
I do like it.
Mm-hmm.
The 10 biggest vineyards that produce Pinot Noir are, what do you think the number one is?
I would say it's somewhere in France.
Yeah, it's France. France has the biggest, they have 29,738 hectares. USA is second. Germany is third, if you believe that.
Of course.
No, this one's surprising. Moldova.
I found with Sauvignon Blanc.
Moldova.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's cooler weather.
Yeah, it's up
white
in
grapes.
Kind of towards isn't that Eastern Europe?
Because there was some Sauvignon Blanc grapes that are grown wineries in Moldova. And I was very shocked by that.
Italy is a top producer. New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland. I didn't know they had vineyards in Switzerland.
Who knew?
I know. Chile and Argentina. I do love Chilean wines.
I do too.
I think they are really complex and quite good. And I would love to they have a wine walk where you walk to different vineyards in Chile.
Ooh.
I think that would be really pretty and that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be amazing.
Currently on sale right now, Pinot Noir has the most expensive bottle out there. There's 2 bottles that are really expensive. And it comes from France, both of them. One, it said it was $45,448 in the US. I wonder if that's because it's imported. But in France, it says it's $13,109. But that's still, no matter what. That's
who
still,
buys that
I
wine?
know. The third one is $6,237.
Wow.
And the top price one is from Domaine de la Rami Conti, France. And surprising, the second most expensive wine out there is a Riesling from Germany for almost $10,000.
Who buys these?
Well,
and do they drink them, or do they just sit them in a wine cellar and let them sit to say that they have it?
I guess when you're
is it an investment?
Insanely wealthy, like Bill Gates, who is upset about them maybe getting taxed, but whatever. I guess those are the people that buy that. I guess if you have billions of dollars, you can go, yeah, I can buy a $45,000 bottle of Pinot Noir. Why not?
Why not? What's the most you've ever spent on a bottle of wine?
The most, well, actually, I think it was $30.
I think the most I've ever spent is $49.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah. And I'm one of those, and
that was one time. It's not like I buy that bottle of wine often.
Actually,
I've bought one time a $49 bottle of wine.
Yeah. This came up too, speaking of high-priced wine, for a value, and I've had this when I was living in Europe, is Côtes de Provence Rosé is one of the best values you can get. It's like $9. And all of their bottles are really pretty. I just love their bottles.
Ooh, that is pretty.
So they're rosés, Provence.
And that's an European Aldi.
Yeah.
Whoa, I wonder how much it would be here. And Aldi...
No, it is about, I think it was $9 here. Okay. I think that's where I looked it up.
Aldi isn't carrying wine in Kansas, which is disappointing.
Yeah, well, they sure do. And, why can't Kansas sell wine? We sell beer.
I know.
It's just, I miss those days of getting my groceries and getting a bottle of wine at the same time.
It was lovely in California. You could absolutely do that. It was so convenient.
That was a Pinot Noir. The Pinot Blanc is the white grape variety of Pinot Blanc. And like I said, it's a mutation of Pinot Noir. It's a semi-dry white wine that is similar to Chardonnay. Can be sweet or have a nutty flavor. Pinot Blancs comes from... I actually Googled how to say this region in France, and I did not write it down. Alsace, France. So it's Alsace. They are the top region of Pinot Blanc. Theirs tends to be creamy with almond, apple, and spice. Italy, another producer, is called Pinot Bianco. Mm-hmm. It tends to be very crisp, light, and fruity.
That's what I would go for.
Yeah. And Germany, the third, it's a Weissburgunder, and it's a light and crisp.
I like light crisp.
Yeah.
Light. Yeah. And those are for reds. Right?
No, this is Pinot Blanc.
Oh, okay.
So basically Pinot Blanc is very diverse wherever the grape is grown. Okay. So like you can see from the different regions, like from Italy to Germany to France. It's all different.
I'm going to talk about Chianti, probably most famous from Silence of the Lambs, which was in the movie but not in the book.
It is actually my least favorite of all Italian wines.
The Chianti?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But the reason why I chose it is because my husband and I went on vacation to Italy, and we stayed in Florence, but we took day trips to Siena and Tuscany and went wine tasting. And so we had all of the big super Tuscans, but we went with a private tour guide, and she took us to basically her friends' wineries. And it seemed like they were essentially just like Kansas farmers, but they were wine farmers in Tuscany in Italy. And I guess I have a special place in my heart for Chianti. And we got several bottles and had them sent home, which was insanely expensive, but worth it. That's why I picked Chianti. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I actually was going to pick the Petit Syrah or a Syrah, and I like Zinfandel as well because I like how spicy they are. But because I have, a connection to actually being in Tuscany and trying them, by far one of my favorite things I've ever done traveling was going wine tasting. And it was actually on Lila's recommendation that we do it.
I'm surprised that you talk about it, because I thought you had such a bad experience in Italy.
Florence is intense. Florence is a very intense city, and we were still pretty jet lagged. I wouldn't say my husband is the easiest person to travel with. I think you realize that. It was a little tense and intense, and he started getting sick. But where we stayed in Florence, it was just very loud and echoey, and I know that's just European cities, but we just were not used to that. We live in quiet Kansas. But now, looking back, now that it's been, years and years since we've been, we think back on it fondly, and we talk about going back, actually. And we were like, we're never going back to Florence. Aside from that, wine tasting in Tuscany and going to Siena were by far some of my best travel memories. I had a blast. I loved doing that. Again, that's why I chose Chianti. So we visited all these gorgeous small farm wineries where the producers and farmers themselves hosted our wine tasting. They gave us food, they gave us cheese, they gave us balsamic vinegar. Chianti is any wine produced in the Chianti region of central Tuscany in Italy. In Tuscany, I guess the major cities would be like Bologna, Florence,
Pisa, San Giovanni. I think so.
It's typically a blend of different grapes, and it's best known for those cute little bottles that you see in movies.
Yes.
They're a squat little bottle that have a basket around it.
Yes.
In, romantic
Yes,
film.
you think that the violins are going to come out. And
right. Or
you're going to meet the man of your dreams.
Right. And there's a candle in it and an empty bottle. During the 1970s, producers started to reduce the quantity of white grapes in Chianti because Chianti, you think of it as a red wine, but there are white grapes. There can be white grapes in it as well. In 1995, it became legal to produce a Chianti with 100% Sangiovese, which is a red wine. And here's where I'm going to get into one of the aspects that I learned about wine when we were in the Tuscan region was the DOGC regulations. And in English, what that translates to, because I'm not even going to try and pronounce it in Italian, I'm not that brave, but what it means is the controlled and guaranteed designation of origin. And wines that come from Tuscany to be certified Tuscan Chianti have to have on the label around the bottleneck a picture of a rooster and a seal that has DOCG on it. Most legit Chianti, controlled and guaranteed designation of origin. That system was introduced in 1963 and established Italy as a founding member of the European Economic Community and was modeled on the French AOC laws.
I think the top one is AOP.
AOP.
For France.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Appellation of de-origin.
Essentially, it means that they're making sure the quality of what's coming out of Tuscany is good.
And it's coming from that region.
And that it's actually coming from that region. I mean, it gets very technical and very...
Well,
there's a lot of legal aspects to it, but
it's also a cultural thing.
Right.
They're very proud of their grapes, their wine. They're producing... France is like that, too.
And what we found when we went to Tuscany is how much pride they had in their land and their grapes. And you just don't see that in America.
No.
Americans don't have pride in much. I don't feel like... I mean, we're in Kansas where we grow... Wheat, and we have soybeans and Milo and beef out the wazoo.
I know that Europeans have a lot of pride in what they do, especially when it comes to winemaking. France and Italy are kind of similar.
That's what
I should say similar, but I'm sure there'll be mail or something about how they're not similar.
But it's the regulations have the same principle, which is it's showing pride in what they're exporting, and I mean, there's been a lot of news stories, and you go online and you can find all kinds of stuff about how olive oil isn't pure olive oil anymore. But with the wine regulations, I feel like it's showing...
I've had olive oil. Greece was the best place I ever had wine. I mean olive oil. I went olive oil tasting when I went there, and it was delicious, absolutely delicious.
Straight from the source, right there.
Yes, and there was all different kinds. They had spicy, and it was just delicious. And to top that off with the pure honey, I realized that chestnut honey is my favorite honey.
I've never even heard of that.
The bees that produce in the chestnut trees are just tasty. But Italy is my favorite country in the world. It's the country I've been to the most. I've been all over Italy. I like Barbera wine, Valpolicella. Those are my two favorite Italian red wines.
And what are those from Tuscany?
No, Barbera is from Piedmont, Sicily, or Sardinia. Valpolicella comes from Verona or Lake Garda.
Can you get those here?
Yes. My favorite Italian restaurant, Gigino's in Italy. It's a great Italian man, and he had the best...
And what city was that in?
It was in Landstuhl, Germany. There are tons of Italian restaurants in Germany run by Italians. But he had a great bottle of Barbera. And actually, speaking of food for Italy, I can remember the best 2 meals I've ever had. Actually, there might be 3 that I had in Italy. And they were very simple pasta dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Gnocchi was one, and it was like a butcher shop, cheese shop with a restaurant.
Really?
And it came out, you're sitting in the middle of the store, it came out with a lid on top, and they opened, and it was this just with plain red sauce and gnocchi. It was steaming, and it was delicious. And the other one was that was in Tuscany. And the other one was just recently before I left Germany, was Lake Como. And it was a dill ravioli. That was delicious. I would lick the plate if I could. I would. I think being in Italy is just something absolutely special.
It is. And I think it's because for Americans, you go and it's so authentic. And there is so much pride and so much care taken into their food and their wine and their coffee and their espresso.
Yeah.
Their train system is lacking.
Yeah, yes, I know.
Greatly.
I thought I was going to be murdered one time on an Italian train to Lake Como.
We ended up.
Well, I think I was forthcoming with you about the train travel. It's
You were.
It's not like German efficiency.
No, German efficient trains.
It's
are
not like
the
another
antithesis.
train will come in Italy. It's not coming.
No, and. Well, that's a whole different story for a whole different day.
Actually, all transportation is shitty in Italy.
Yeah, we had good taxi cab.
Yeah, I'm the train and
the
the bus
buses. Yeah, it was a shitstorm.
We had a bus that never came.
We were stuck on a train to God knows where in the middle of who knows where Italy on Christmas Eve. Yeah. And it was foggy and creepy. And we were the only people, I was bawling my eyes out. We were the only people on the train back to Bologna. And that's as far as the train was going to get us. We had to stay the night, Christmas Eve, in Bologna, even though we'd already paid for our hotel and apartment. And that's where I think that being our first day in Italy, that kind of made it rough.
Probably.
But it redeemed itself the next day. Italy redeemed itself with our Christmas dinner, this most amazing Italian restaurant where we had gnocchi and a blue cheese sauce, and my husband had boar bolognese, I think.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, one of the most delicious meals we've ever had. And our waitress was lovely, and our minds were just blown that it was Christmas night and these people were at their restaurant, this little tiny restaurant, cooking for us.
I always found that Europeans kind of celebrate Christmas Eve more.
Yeah. Well, I could see that because nothing was open on Christmas Eve, and no one was around on Christmas Eve. It was terrifying. We thought we were going to have to, sleep in 30-degree weather on a train platform in the middle of nowhere, Italy. We got it figured out.
Yeah.
The point being, Italy redeemed itself.
Well, that's good.
The first few days were awful, but that wasn't Italy's fault. That was us being new to Italy.
Yeah. Italy's fantastic.
Tuscany, Siena, the wine, the food. Okay, so that's all we're talking about. So you may not enjoy Chianti, but
it's interesting to know. It is interesting. It is. Especially if you had a chance to do a tasting of it.
Exactly. Yeah. In the location, it makes it's more of a hit you in the heart kind of thing.
So is there something you're loving this week?
Lila, there is.
Okay, tell me.
All right, have you heard of the Enneagram?
No.
Okay. My husband, I told him one day that I've been looking into and interested in on Enneagrams lately. The Enneagram, my husband assumed it was some kind of BS modern hipster thing.
Yeah.
But it's actually centuries old. And it's kind of a way of typing personalities. And the Enneagram says that there are 9 different major personalities. And out of these 9 personalities, everybody has one major personality, and then they have some wings of these other numbers. I've been fascinated by going through and figuring out my type. And I've heard other people say it. You don't know what your type is right away. You think you do. But then the more you read up on it and the more you study it, the more you realize maybe my number type isn't what I thought it was.
So what is your type?
What I think my type is Enneagram number 3, which is the achiever.
Okay.
I think my wing is the individualist. So type 3, which I think is my main type, the achiever is success-oriented, pragmatic, adaptive, excelling, driven, and image-conscious. For the most part, overall, that's my underlying driving force. I want to achieve...
How did you get involved in this? What led to this?
Actually, my nanny. She's like 20. All the young kids are into the Enneagrams.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, and I hadn't either, but she introduced me to it. And then I started talking to my therapist about it recently, too. I think I'm an Enneagram 3 with a 4 wing, which is the individualist, which is the sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. Which means that my main driving force is success, image, being the best, overachieving. Like, I'm not just going to have one baby, Lila. I am going to have GD twins. If I would have had triplets, that would have even been better. And so I think my husband is either a 6, which is the loyalist, which is the committed, security-oriented type, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. That sums him up pretty well. Or the challenger, which is the powerful, dominating type, self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. This is where I could say my husband's an attorney, so, you know.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Other types are the reformer, the helper, the investigator, the enthusiast, the peacemaker. Okay, let's look into the investigator then. You were giving me some side-eye about this, but now I think you're slightly curious.
Well, I'm just saying I'm an investigator.
I could see that. The intense cerebral type, perceptive and innovative, secretive, and isolated.
I don't know if I'm secretive.
I don't see you as being secretive, and I don't see you as being isolated. I mean, it's not like you're a hermit.
No. Some days I would like to be isolated.
I mean, you're an introvert, but so am I. Maybe that's why we get along so well. We're like, I like you. Let's hang out. Now give me my space.
Exactly.
I'll see you in a month.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Me too. And it doesn't
Just
mean...
check up on me, though.
Right. But it doesn't mean that our friendship isn't going to exist because we don't need to see each other, which is why I feel like the individualist is...
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe you're an investigator with the individualist wing, and I'm the achiever with the individualist wing.
Yes. Something to think about.
Although I don't think you're sensitive.
No. Not at all.
And you're not self-absorbed.
No.
And I don't think you're dramatic. Actually, I don't think you're an individualist at all.
No. I don't think I'm an individualist.
No. Are you committed, security-oriented?
I don't know about that.
Engaging, responsible, anxious?
No.
I don't see you as anxious either.
No.
See, this is what I'm saying. You think you know what Enneagram type you would be? Yeah,
I'm going to investigate. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let everybody know next episode what I am.
Okay, I would love that.
Okay.
So you started out and see it draws you in.
Well, I didn't know where we were going with it.
You start thinking about it and you say, oh.
Well, I didn't know where we were going with it.
Well, and I've listened to, I've attempted to listen to some Enneagram podcasts, and I'm not saying I would do a better job. I'm going to start an Enneagram podcast. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I think it's hard for people to understand it until you read about it, until you talk to someone about it, until you investigate it, per se.
Well, I will let you know next week.
But a lot of the podcasts...
We won't be not doing anything next week. Well, no. Okay.
Yeah, next week we're taking a break.
We have other commitments.
Right. I feel like on the Enneagram podcasts I've listened to, they're rattling off facts from a book.
Okay.
And now it's your turn.
Oh, see,
Lila,
I wish I could do something really intellectual like she just did, but what am I loving this week? Well,
we need to lighten it up anyway.
Yeah. I have a tendency to do deep dives on actors if I haven't seen them in a while.
Such as investigating them?
Yeah, investigating them. And so I was watching that new Watchmen series on HBO it's based on the comic book The Watchmen.
Okay.
And it has a good cast. And Don Johnson's in it. And he was also, Don Johnson, Miami Vice.
Yeah.
I gotta say, he looks really good for his age.
He's gotta be like 80.
70. As you know, I just did a deep dive on him.
Well, you would know.
Yeah. So he's 70, but he looks really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just because I'm in my 40s that I just gravitate to older people.
Maybe so. You're like, well, I'm 40, but I'm not 70.
No.
So.
But you gravitate to the older people.
Right,
kind
sure.
of.
Well, yeah, it's like we kind of hit over that edge where we're not interested. Like we talked about the Jonas Brothers. We have no interest in them.
I'd have no interest in them.
I can maybe run to their music, but I have 0 F's to give about the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, I just think but I have a tendency, I did that with Tom Selleck a while ago, a deep dive into Tom Selleck. Because it's just, I think it's also nostalgia.
Well,
it's a little
you can't forget that mustache.
You know what? He looks pretty good for 74 too. But I think it's a little bit nostalgia from when we were growing up because I remember Miami Vice and then. But anyway, back to Don Johnson.
Yes, please.
So I'm just saying he looks very good for his age.
Okay.
And I like to see him getting good roles.
What else did you find out on your deep dive about him?
Well, he's been married 5 times.
Oh boy.
And there's no names of the 2 women his first 2 wives a long time ago. And he was married to Melanie Griffith twice.
Why would you marry? Oh.
Well, they were very young when they first got married.
Okay.
It didn't last a year. And then they got married later on and had a kid. And then he's been married to the same woman, I think, since the 90s now.
Oh.
They have other kids.
Is Don Johnson one of those people who comes to Wichita to get airplanes? I know Kevin Costner does. Like, people see Kevin Costner all over our town.
I did a deep dive on Kevin Costner. I do this. I have a tendency to see actors you haven't seen in a while in a movie or TV show.
And then you go down a rabbit hole.
And I like on The Watchmen, oh, good idea to cast Don Johnson in this role.
Well done.
Who would have thought that? Speaking, I have a Kevin Costner story now.
Okay. Well, was it when you saw him in Wichita?
No, I have never seen him before.
By the way, speaking of celebrities in Wichita, I used to live down the street from Kirstie Alley, and I went rug shopping with her once.
Really? Well,
she was probably cocained out of her mind.
Oh,
and she had an entourage.
Yeah, why did she invite you rug shopping?
Oh, she didn't. We just happened to be in our neighborhood rug shop.
Oh, okay, because you said you went rug shopping with her, like she invited you rug shopping.
I'd like to think that's what happened.
Okay.
But really, my husband and I went to a rug shop in our neighborhood where we lived in our urban area before we moved to the suburbs, like old parents that we are. And she happened to be there. But the unspoken rule in Wichita is when celebrities come to town, you just ignore them. Like, you give them their piece. And that's what people do with Kevin Costner.
I don't think that's probably that way anymore. They're idiots out there now.
Well, that's
Wichita's
true.
Full of them.
But Kirstie Alley isn't really a celebrity, let's be honest.
Well,
Although
she is a celebrity.
Is it the Backstreet Boy?
I don't know. You would have to ask my friend Tiffany about the Backstreet Boys.
Okay, well, there was like a Backstreet Boy or somebody from NSYNC who basically follows her around, and he comes to Wichita with her all the time. Point being, Don Johnson.
Yes.
What other fun facts did you find out about him?
Well, he had a few number 1 hit songs. Heartbeat. I remember that song, Heartbeat. I think it was Heartbeat. He dated Barbara Streisand for a while, but that's about it. I just want to know his age, and I was happy to see. I get happy when I see people have roles. I'm the same way with anybody you might remember when you were younger.
Well, you did this a few weeks ago for one of your favorite things.
I'm just in this phase where I like to.
We talked about age, and it was nice to see. It was the kid from E.T.
My mom always says that. She goes, "Your boyfriend was on TV," and I always say, "Which one?" And mine is always, you won't know who he is Bruce Greenwood. He was a character actor in those made-for-TV movies. And now
like a Hallmark movie? Like Meghan Markle?
No, like Lifetime movies, crap like that.
Yes.
I think he was in the Judd's, Winona and Naomi Judd movie. But he is one of those, and he was in the Star Trek. He shows up in movies every once in a while, and I always thought he was really good looking. My mom calls him my boyfriend whenever she sees him on TV.
That's spectacular.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I got this week.
Okay.
I might have more deep dives as our episodes go.
I have a question for you for the next. Yeah. I'm going to save it for the live episode.
Yeah. You want me to sing Heartbeat?
Maybe, but that's not it.
Okay.
We'll see.
Oh, what? What are we talking about on the live episode then?
Well,
we don't have anything. We don't
really have a theme. We're gonna go.
We were trying to do some live wine tastings.
Yeah, we're gonna go do a live wine tasting, basically.
At a place in town with that.
Nothing could go wrong, possibly. Yeah. At least my 3-year-old won't barge in screaming, "Mommy!"
I still think it was more of the dog, because I think I just had that dream about that happening.
The dog is outside the door sniffing. Can you hear him?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll probably have a lot more deep dives as the podcast goes.
I like it. You can be our deep dive investigator.
I do like a good investigation.
You need to go check out your Enneagram.
Yeah, I will do that. And I will let you know at our live show what my Enneagram is.
Yes, please do.
Okay, our probably 2 viewers listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, you don't know how much that will amplify our podcast.
And make sure you like us on Instagram, Twitter.
And maybe comment, send us an email. But also, if you have any feedback for us, you just email us at themuddlepodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. And our website will be up soon.
I was just going to say, we're working on the website. Yes. My children have all started preschool, and I have a minute or two. All right, let's cheers to another episode. This was our red wine episode.
Cheers.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.